Welcome to WT History. In this series, we list all the major events that happened in the world in a year, starting from 1776 to 2024. On January 5th, legendary frontiersman Davy Crockett arrived in Texas, ready to join the fight for independence from Mexico. A week later, on January 12th, Will County, Illinois, was officially formed, reflecting the westward expansion and development of the young United States. Then, on February 25th, inventor Samuel Colt received a U.S. patent for his Colt revolver, the first multi-shot firearm with a revolving barrel. By February 23rd, the Battle of the Alamo had begun. The small Texan garrison was surrounded by thousands of Mexican troops under Santa Anna. The next chapter began on March 1st, when delegates gathered at Washington on the Brazos for the Convention of 1836, debating whether to formally sever ties with Mexico. And on March 2nd, they did just that. 60 delegates signed the Texas Declaration of Independence, founding the Republic of Texas. But freedom came at a cost. On March 6th, the Battle of the Alamo ended in bloodshed. All defenders perished, including Davy Crockett, leaving behind a powerful symbol of resistance. Just over a week later, on March 17th, delegates adopted the Texas Constitution, modeled after the U.S. Constitution. It controversially enshrined slavery and required free blacks to petition to remain in Texas. On March 27th, tragedy deepened with the Goliad Massacre. 342 Texan prisoners, including General James Fannin, were executed under Santa Anna's orders. The same day, the Kirtland Temple, the first Mormon temple, was dedicated by Joseph Smith Jr. in Ohio, marking a milestone in Latter-day Saint history. Also that day, the United States Survey of the Coast was returned to the Treasury Department and renamed the U.S. Coast Survey. By April 20th, the Wisconsin Territory was created with its capital at Belmont, another step in U.S. expansion. The very next day, on April 21st, the tide turned at the Battle of San Jacinto. Texan forces, led by Sam Houston, launched a surprise attack and decisively defeated Santa Anna's army. Then on April 22nd, General Santa Anna was captured, sealing the Texan victory. On May 14th, the treaties of Velasco were signed, with Santa Anna recognizing Texan independence in exchange for his freedom. However, Mexico refused to ratify the treaties. May 19th brought the Fort Parker Massacre, during which a 9-year-old Cynthia Ann Parker was captured. Years later, she would become the mother of Quanah Parker, the last Comanche chief. On June 15th, Arkansas became the 25th state of the Union, a new star on the American flag. July 13th saw a new age of innovation. Patent number 1 was issued to John Ruggles for locomotive tire improvements, after nearly 10,000 unnumbered patents. Just days later, on July 21st, the Champlain and St. Lawrence Railroad opened in Quebec, the first steam-powered passenger railroad in British North America. Then, on August 30th, the city of Houston, Texas, was founded, named after General Sam Houston. By September 5th, Sam Houston was elected the first president of the Republic of Texas and inaugurated on October 22nd. On October 24th, Alonzo Dwight Phillips received the earliest U.S. patent for a phosphorus friction match. In the general election on December 7th, Martin Van Buren defeated William Henry Harrison and 3 other Whigs, but the year ended with loss. On December 15th, the U.S. Patent Office burned down, destroying thousands of historical records. Over in Europe, January 1st saw Queen Maria II of Portugal marry Prince Ferdinand of Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, uniting royal dynasties. On February 8th, the London and Greenwich Railway opened its first section, the first railway line in London, a city poised for industrial growth. By March 29th, composer Richard Wagner's opera Das Liebesverbot premiered in Magdeburg, reflecting early signs of his later fame. 2 days later, on March 31st, Charles Dickens published the first monthly part of the Pickwick Papers under the pen name Boz. On May 15th, astronomer Francis Baily observed a now famous solar eclipse phenomenon, Baily's Beads, where sunlight streams through lunar valleys. On July 29th, the Arc de Triomphe was officially dedicated in Paris, honoring the soldiers of France's Revolutionary and Napoleonic Wars. Next came progress in civil liberties. On August 17th, the UK Marriage Act legalized civil marriage and allowed weddings in nonconformist chapels, with a central registrar general system established. In Germany, on October 13th, Theodor and Friederike Fliedner opened a deaconess hospital in Kaiserswerth, pioneering nurse training for women. By November 28th, the University of London was formally established by royal charter, affiliating University College London and King's College London. However, tragedy struck England on December 27th when an avalanche in Lewes, Sussex, buried several cottages, killing 8 of 15 people. Other notable European moments include the publication of Murray's first travel handbook, the discovery of the Chatsworth head sculpture in Cyprus, and the grand opening of the Alte Pinakothek Art Museum in Munich. Globally, January 1st marked the beginning of Colombo Academy, Sri Lanka's first public school, launched by the British colonial government. On January 12th, HMS Beagle arrived in Sydney with Charles Darwin aboard, midway through his journey that would reshape biology. On March 11th, Ottoman Sultan Mahmud II restructured government, replacing older positions with modern ministries of foreign affairs and interior. Then on May 7th, Mayaguez, Puerto Rico, was elevated to the royal rank of villa, enhancing its administrative status. By July 27th, settlers had founded Adelaide, a new colony in South Australia. On July 30th, Hawaii published its first English-language newspaper, marking a turning point in cross-cultural communication. Then on September 1st, reconstruction began on the Herva Synagogue in Jerusalem, centuries after its destruction. 10 days later, on September 11th, the Rio Grandense Republic was proclaimed in South America, challenging Brazilian control in the South. On October 2nd, Charles Darwin returned to England aboard the Beagle, carrying specimens and insights that would fuel his theory of evolution. By December 26th, South Australia was formally proclaimed a British Crown colony, now celebrated annually as Proclamation Day. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to keep traveling through history with us.